Right, to kick things off today, we're going to start by just adding some oil to a pot, and then we're going to add in our onions. Now I'm going to cook these on a sort of medium to low heat for about 15 to 20 minutes until they've gone beautifully caramelized, soft and golden brown. And then we're going to make our onion sugar syrup out of these. Now the reason we want to take these onions nice and far and make them lovely and gooey is we're going to cook out that harsh onion taste, and all we're going to be left with is a beautiful caramelized onion taste that's going to flavor our cocktail perfectly. My onions have reduced now. They've gone nice and gooey and they've got a little bit of color. Next thing we can do is just add in our sugar syrup. Now I'm going to swirl this around, leave it off the heat and let it infuse for 1 hour. Our onions and our sugar syrup have now infused for an hour. What I did next is I just strained the onions off of the sugar syrup through a sieve, and I pushed against the onions with the back of the spoon just to make sure I really pressed out all of those onion juices and sugar syrup. We will be left with about 80 ml, which is perfect for 4 cocktails. Now your onions, you're going to reserve, and we're going to use these in our paired lamb dish. Get on to preparing our lamb. So I've got a lovely piece of lamb rump here with the fat left on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to remove this fat and then cut the lamb into cubes. I've cut my lamb into cubes, and we're just going to want to pop it in a bowl, pour over our oil, cumin, garlic, lemon zest. There goes in our lemon zest. Right, and then we're just going to give this a little massage all together with our hands just to distribute the marinade over the lamb. So I've got my lamb here. I've just added in all the marinade ingredients and I've given it a nice massage. We're just going to let this sit for 10 to 15 minutes, but if you have time, it's really great to let this sit maybe up to overnight. While the lamb marinates, we can get on to making our hummus, which will form the base of our dish. So I'm just going to pour in my chickpeas. I've reserved a couple of extra chickpeas just for garnish, so set those aside. And then to our food processor, we're going to add in our oil. Now I'm just going to puree this until it's nice and fine. Zucchini, lemon juice, cumin, garlic, and olive. So back to our lamb. I've put our lamb cubes onto skewers, and I've just let the marinade sort of drip off a bit. And then I've spooned a little bit of that marinade over our lovely chickpeas here. Now we're going to pop these into a baking tray. 180 degrees until everything's gone nice and crisp. It'll take about half an hour. Then we're going to add in our salted lamb fat. Now as our lamb fat renders, it's going to become beautifully crispy, and that lamb fat is going to merge with those marinated chickpeas, and everything's just going to get crispy, crunchy, and delicious. So let's pop this into an oven now. Next, let's move on to making our salsa. So we've got our delicious onions here from our Leonista cocktail, which we reserved. And we're going to want to add about 2 tablespoons of onion to our bowl. We're going to go in with our garlic, our mint, parsley, lemon zest, capers, lemon juice, and our residual lamb fat. Now, if you don't get enough fat from doing your lamb crispies, then you can just substitute that with a little bit of olive oil or canola oil. Now we're just going to give this a stir. I might add a slight bit more oil just to loosen it up, and then we're going to season this to taste with a pinch of salt. Let's finish prating up our lamb. So I got a nice big serving plate, and I just did a nice big smoosh of hummus in the middle. Now I've spiralized my cucumber, but you can go ahead and just chop yours into thin slices if you don't have a spiralizer. And then I just dotted our fresh cucumber with a little bit of mint. Now we're going to finish our garnish with our lovely crispy chickpeas and lamb fat. Now I've just chopped up that lamb fat so that it becomes a nice crispy garnish. I'm just going to sprinkle that over just to add some nice crunch to our dish. And then we're going to go ahead and add some of our lovely sauce with our onions left over from our Leonista cocktail. Doesn't that look absolutely delicious? Now this is going to be best paired with our Leonista cocktail.